The trailer dropped. We've been waiting for it. Let's talk about it. No preamble. Let's get started. Go, go, go. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, homies, one and all. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and thank you for tuning in to this little episode of Thumb Together, where we are just going to break down everything we saw in this morning's final debut trailer for Avengers Endgame. I say final, what I was trying to say, but I can't make the talks today because I'm kind of excited here, is finally we got the debut trailer for Avengers 4. And it's here, and it's very short, but it shows us pretty much everything we expected to see. So let's just take a quick walk down memory lane, because this is, I watched the trailer 10 minutes ago, so it is now a memory, and let's talk about it. Here we go. Alright, so we're starting with our boy Iron Man, who's all alone, presumably all alone, on this spaceship, and we see him leaving a message for Pepper Potts, telling her that he is running out of food and water, and they're going to run out of oxygen, and everything's going to be horrible, and it's all kinds of bad, and they're floating through space with no hope of rescue. Now, I don't know my spaceships too well, particularly my Marvel Cinematic Universe spaceships too well. They all kind of blend together for me. I can't tell if this is the Milano, if this is the Guardians spaceship. I'm assuming it is, because Tony crashed the donut ship that he came on, and the Guardians, we assume, had a safe landing because they just show up there. So that ship either belongs to the Guardians or to Nebula, because she's still alive. But the important detail to note here is, their ship is out of fuel. So whether or not Tony and Nebula are together on this ship, I'm assuming they are, because I don't think anybody else is up there. What's going on with this ship? Why is it out of fuel? Why is it out of food and water? I assume Nebula knows her way around a starship. She can probably, whether it's her ship or the Milano, she can probably jump in the driver's seat and be like, nah, Tony, I got this. Let's go, stop at a 7-Eleven. We'll pick up a couple big gulps and some beef jerky, and then we'll go back to Earth. It's fine. So the fact that they are adrift in space is terrifying, but it's also a little confusing. I want to know more about what happened there, because how did they get from Titan, or wherever that moon was? I think it was Titan. It's been a minute, you can tell. How did they get from Titan to floating through space about to die? That's my first big question. Speaking of Titans, we get a very fleeting glimpse of the world's most famous cuddly purple Titan himself, and he's still on that farm planet where we saw him, and he's just enjoying the hell out of his retirement, and he put up his armor as a scarecrow in this field that he is now just meandering through. He's pulling a Russell Crowe from The Gladiator and just running his hand through a field of wheat, or in this case, space wheat. Space wheat is chunky and has like spikes on it. So he's just enjoying life. He's farming away here. It's hard to tell the way the camera's positioned, but it looks like he's still rocking that burnt out gauntlet on his hand, or like his hand is still messed up, at least from the snap. So he's still in that place. He's pretty much where we left him. Then we see those little shots of Nebula, who is also on a ship. Whether it's the same one as Tony, we don't know. I like to think that it is, because of this shot here, where she is touching the shoulder of somebody sitting in a pilot's chair. Again, I can't think of anybody else who would have survived in that pocket of the story other than Tony. So I'm assuming that's him. I'm assuming she's just like, hey, buddy, here's a comforting hand on your shoulder for a couple seconds, because we're probably gonna die soon. That's what this whole thing looks like to me. I don't know, maybe I'm dead wrong. Do you think that's Tony in that chair, or do you think there's somebody else alive that I'm totally forgetting about because I'm a dummy who forgets things sometimes? Let me know. Then finally our action cuts back to a little planet called Earth, and we see, I was going to say the remaining Avengers, but we don't even really see all that much of them. We see mostly Captain America and Black Widow. There are a couple of fleeting shots here and there. There's a little one of Bruce Banner. There he is. He's looking through the files at all the people. Whether or not those files say if these people are alive or dead, it's hard to tell. We know Scott Lang is alive, but from the look on Bruce Banner's face, it doesn't look like he knows that. So he's just terrified. Then we've got our one and only shot of Thor, who's just sitting in his civvies in this very stark-looking room, and he's just kind of looking pissed off. Thor's not a happy camper. Nobody's a happy camper in this trailer whatsoever. But my favorite part of the trailer comes right at this point here, because this is where we finally get a look at our boy Hawkeye, and he's been missing for a hell of a long time. We haven't seen him in many, many movies. And Black Widow meets up with Hawkeye on the streets of some city in Asia. Hard to tell right now. But what's cool about this, there's so much going on in this little few seconds here. Hawkeye's got a sword and he's cleaning it off because he has just killed a man. There's a dude in a tuxedo or something lying on the ground dead at his feet. Hawkeye just killed a mofo. And he turns around and he looks at Black Widow. Now, I don't know about you, but that look that he gives his friend right there, to me, that's the look of a guy who's lost everything. And given that we saw he has a rather big, growing family back in Avengers Age of Ultron, I think that this stands to reason that he lost that family. This shot alone makes me think that Linda Florentino and all those little kids got wiped away with the snap. Again, that's pure speculation, but look at this man's face. That is not a man whose family is doing okay. All right? His kids aren't home, playing Fortnite and eating chicken dinners. No, that's a man whose family is gone. And he's killing people now, which Hawkeye would never do before. And even to back this up more, throughout this scene, you hear Captain America giving that voiceover, and when it gets to this spot, he's saying, some of us lost friends, some of us lost family. And right then and there, we see this image of Hawkeye killing a person, and Captain America goes on to say, we even lost ourselves. And that's when Hawkeye turns around and is like, oh, I just killed a man and I don't even care. Folks, I mean, if his family is alive after this shot, I will be very surprised. I'm going to put Vegas odds right now. We're at Caesar's Palace Casino. I'm putting down money. Hawkeye's family, kaput. That's it. Now this right here, this might be my second favorite shot of the entire trailer because it's this very cool, desolate image of the inside of Avengers headquarters. And even though it's daylight and there's beautiful golden sunlight just dappling in through those windows, it's gorgeous. Despite that, it still manages to convey the tone of utter desolation and utter emptiness and loss. It's a perfect picture of a place that was once full of life and no longer is. We know, because we've seen other movies, plenty of folks walked up and down that hall enjoying life and doing their work, and all of a sudden there's nobody there. That sells the message of what Thanos did, at least for me, better than anything else we've seen in this trailer. Now the trailer comes to an end with a little bit of a lighter note. We get Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, my man crush. He's back. He's got his van parked outside Avengers headquarters, and he's, knocking on the door and asking to be buzzed in, because clearly he's got some things to tell them. He wants to know what's going on. If you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know he was affected by the snap too. So he's coming to get answers or to possibly give answers. But now there's another question that presents itself with his presence here is, okay, how did this dude get out of the quantum realm? Because he was kind of stuck in there last time we saw him. So what's the dealio there? Captain Marvel doesn't show up in this trailer at all, but I think that's for the best. We're still trying to sell her movie. I'll go ahead and add some more to the stack of money I've got riding on those Vegas odds there, that once Captain Marvel comes out, we're going to see a final trailer for Avengers 4 that will have her in it, popping up at the end like Spider-Man did at the end of the Civil War trailer. Just be like, hey guys, remember me? Brie Larson? I'm a pilot. Boop-boo. Just shooting stuff from her hands. I'm assuming that's what Captain Marvel does. I still don't really know what she does. All in all, I don't love this trailer. I love parts of it, but, one of the awards that I give out every January, my Fanny Awards, one of them is for Best Trailer. I'm going to be upfront with you. This isn't making the cut. It's not a trailer that blew me away in any way, shape, or form. But the trailer itself, the footage itself, is not why I tuned in. No, I was excited for this primarily because I wanted to know what the F this movie was going to be called. And now we finally know. So Avengers Endgame is the official title of Avengers 4. This is one of the many theories that's been floating around ever since May. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't my favorite choice. I heard other things like Eternity War, which I really, really was pulling for. I heard a few other things that sounded really neat. Endgame was one that I was like, I can live with it, but I'm not in love with it. I don't know, considering that we all know for a fact that this is not going to be the last Avengers movie, it's kind of weird to call it Endgame. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. But regardless of how I feel about the title, I am super excited that we finally know what it is. And now I can say, hey, guess what? Avengers 4 is called Avengers Endgame. It's going to be dope. Let's get excited. And another reason to get excited, another beautiful little nugget that dropped at the end of this trailer was the release date is back in April. Just like they did with Infinity War, where we were all set for an early May release, all of a sudden they're like, nah, you know what? Let's get it to you a little bit earlier. Just a little tiny bit earlier, just because you've been good. And I'm like, oh, Marvel, I haven't been good. And Marvel's like, nah, you're fine. And I'm like, if you say so. And I get all bashful. But that's what's happening. We are getting Avengers Endgame in April instead of May. I'm assuming it's just like with Infinity War. We're going to get it right at the tail end of April, probably like April 28th or April 30th or something like that. I don't know which one is the Friday. But that's a cool little piece of information. And you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more cash to my Vegas odds right now. And I am going to assume that this date change is the reason, or at least one of the reasons, why we had to wait so long for this trailer. So I bet you any money Disney was pulling some strings with, their distribution department, talking to the theaters, getting on the phone with some folks and saying, listen, I know we had this movie, this biggest movie of all time here, scheduled for May, but how would you feel about us pushing it up a little bit to April instead? And once all those papers were filled out, once everybody crossed the T's and dotted the I's and said, yes, we'll now release your movie in April for you, that's when they released this trailer and proudly proclaimed at the very end, guys, you're going to get this movie in April instead of May. That sounds like a good enough reason to delay the trailer as far as I'm concerned, to tell us that we're getting the movie even sooner than we thought. It's only 4 months, baby. In 4 months, we are going to know how the Avengers beat Thanos. Or if the Avengers beat Thanos. That's kind of a big deal. So that is my breakdown on the Avengers Endgame trailer. It feels so good to finally say the title, right? Instead of just saying Avengers 4. The Avengers Endgame trailer, that's my breakdown of it. I liked quite a bit of what I saw. Not my favorite trailer I've ever seen, but that's okay. I'm just happy that we finally have a title and that we have a nice little, slightly earlier release date. That's always a treat when something like that happens. Thank you so much for tuning into this. Let me know, please. Tell me what your thoughts are on this trailer. Put them in the comments. If you were like, Andrew, this is the worst trailer I've ever seen in my life, and you're garbage, and your channel sucks, write that in the comments. If you thought the trailer was amazing, and you think the title is amazing, and you think I'm stupid for not thinking they're amazing, go ahead and write that too. I'm cool with that. I want to know why you think they're amazing, and I'm glad you think they're amazing. So now it's only a matter of time. The countdown has begun. We're getting closer and closer to April. We're inching our way there. The movie is pretty much right around the corner. So thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Andrew Fantasia. I will see you here next time, and until then, adios.